Okay, just everything in here was pretty much things I was doing. I just didn't, I saw another guy, and the guy's name was Clifford Pickett. And he put, it's so common, I think, when you get in semi-technical areas. He started using some of the things I already knew in a way I wasn't thinking about. And it was like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And that was kind of the lightning bolt for me. Anyhow, he came up with or suggested a method, and then I've kind of expanded on some of the stuff he did. He's very, very good. If you go to cliffordpickett.com, you'll find his stuff. B&H does stuff, workshops with him all the time. He really knows his stuff, and he likes to talk. So what should take 20 minutes takes an hour. So, you know, it's like one of those. And he does cover a lot of stuff in that you might be valuable, but it just seems like for me, it was like, oh, yeah, I had to go through the whole hour to get that 20 or 30 minutes worth of good stuff out of it. So anyhow, here's basically what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about how to reorganize your entire library in one click, and how you can automatically have your photos tagged or keyworded or whatever you want to call them, so that there's things you can look up to find them. Ways to rate your photos. There's lots and lots of ways. I'm going to suggest one. On that particular one, it's widely used, but certainly only one of many that are very fine. Although I would say, if you're talking about how the library is organized, the vast majority of serious photographers tend to use the month, day, year for the folders. And there's a lot, like I said, there's lots of ways to do it. So let's just kind of dig into it. Well, why do you want to do that? Have you ever thought any of these things? Where are my photos? Why are some of them missing? Where's a picture of my granddaughter? What about my photos, my phone photos? Yeah. What about video? Why? Right? It's just like, okay, they'll address all these things. So hopefully we'll answer some of those questions. Already one last comment, and then we'll stay pretty much on the slides and a demo. This is all about using Lightroom Classic. Okay. There are other products that could be used, but this is Lightroom Classic, and it's only going to work on Lightroom Classic. So most of the concepts, however, are transportable to lots of different software. So, okay. Why organize by date? Well, here's the basic problem people have. When you take a photo, it's always got a who, what, and where. And why also. And which one are you going to categorize it by? Because it belongs in all of those. So do you want 4 copies of your photo on your drive? No. So why not choose something that's just a nice place to store it, and then let your software take care of those questions, which is the way I'm gonna approach it here. The other thing is, essentially, you click a button and it brings in your photos. It'll reorganize your photos, and then next time you take photos, you put the card in your thing and say, import them, and don't change anything. That's kind of the key, is once you get it set up right, just leave it there, okay? One thing you need to be aware of, and this would be true with any piece of software, different drives have different speeds. And those speeds make a difference when you're using a program, okay? A standard spinning hard drive is the one down at the bottom. And let's see how I can do this here. Didn't work the way I wanted it to.
Program shows all the files.
There we go. Oh, move forward is what it did. Okay. Interesting. Didn't try this on two screens. I hoped it was all gonna be on one, and he decided, nope, it's gonna do on two. So a spinning hard drive is at the bottom there. You're 180 megabits per second. Okay, that's 10 years ago, that was fast. Today, that's a snail. And reads a little bit faster. Okay. But an external Thunderbolt 4 SSD. Now, most of the laptops that aren't brand new have a Thunderbolt 3 socket, so it's slower than this. But kind of the bottom line is a solid state external drive on 4 is 15 times faster. 15 is a lot. A minute is just seconds, right? So, and if you can get to the newest drives where the internals are effectively, they're now getting up in the Thunderbolt 5 range, and you're getting 5,000 megabits per second. 25 times faster than the bottom spinning.
Was that an external one or an internal? The top one.
The top one is your internal SSD, okay? And almost all the machines made in the last 5 years have an internal SSD. It's not a spinner anymore. I have a huge 14 terabyte external drive, and that's the bottom. Okay, that was my drive. And I have several other drives, they all about the same. And the biggest thing, quite frankly, isn't, at least from my drive, isn't so much that. It's when I start something and I haven't used the drive in a while, it goes to sleep. And it takes 10 or 15 seconds to start spinning again. And I'm constantly waiting for, I can hear it spin up. Okay. So sometimes you can find the settings, it depends on the manufacturer of your drive. Sometimes you can say, no, I want it to keep spinning for, I don't know, an hour before you stop spinning it. That will help. Okay. So what does that mean? You want to put your catalog on your fastest drives. It doesn't matter too much where your photos are. That's a relatively small piece of the puzzle. The way that Lightroom Classic works is where you put your catalog will also be where all your previews are stored. Those you want fast. When you pull it up and look it on your screen, you're seeing the preview. Then when you say, go ahead and edit it, then it pulls the real one in. And then it might take 4 seconds to pull it in, right?
Hey, Pat?
Yeah.
Pat, we can't see anything on your screen, assume people.
Oh, thank you.
Nope, I just see you.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I forgot to share my screen. So. Okay. Come on, there we go. Can you see it now?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Over here. I think if I do this, yeah. Okay. So my screen looks funny, but okay. And the catalog and previews, depending on which preview you use, matters. The one that will take the least amount of space and it'll be really fast, but you don't see the full detail of your photo, is, and it's particularly valuable if you shoot raw, is you say use embedded. Okay, and I'll show you in a second what that means. Okay, then there's standard, and Lightroom Classic is pretty smart, and it knows what your screen size is, and it just brings it down to one that's the maximum of that size. So if your screen is 4K, then that's what size the previews will be. Okay, the one of the things, and multiple people have been trapped on this last one, the catalog and photos backup should be on a external drive or in the cloud. Okay, and the catalog does not contain any of your photos. So backing up your catalog doesn't back up one photo. It just backups your catalog. And you'll see, as we kind of do this, that's not that big a deal to recreate a catalog. I don't want to do it, and there's reasons I don't want to do it. But if you're newer to Lightroom, then creating a new catalog is not a big deal. Okay. Okay, so when you're in Lightroom Classic, in the upper left, it will tell you what the name of your catalog is. Okay. You should know what that is. And the thing we're going to do, we're going to create a new one. Creating a new catalog, there's a few caveats on it. What do you lose? And the answer is, depends on you. I would lose stuff. That's why I don't want to do it. The things I would lose is virtual copies. That's the biggie. If you do a lot of JPEGs and you edit your JPEGs, because Lightroom doesn't write over your JPEG, the changes are only stored in the catalog. So any edits you've done to the photo would get lost. Not the photo, just the edits to the photo. And then there are some settings that are actually stored in the catalog, but not too many. So most of the settings are on defaults. If you've really been a user for a long time, you've probably changed several of the settings. But generally, you start with it being the default settings. So how do you create a new catalog? You go to the upper left and you click on File and then Create New Catalog, and you tell it where you want your new catalog and what you want to call it. Pretty easy.
So like on the hard drive, I mean, on your remote or whatever. If you're on your
Most of the time, unless you have a fast external drive, I would put the catalog on your boot drive. That's your fast drive. Okay. But you can put it anywhere you want. Once before I knew all this, I actually put it in Dropbox. And it worked. It just took forever to do anything. Because I had to get it from Dropbox up in the cloud down to my computer. Then I had to do whatever on my computer, and then it finally showed up on my screen. So yeah, you can put it anywhere, but I would highly suggest being your boot drive. Windows and Mac, both of them have a structure that is default when you get your machine, which is it'll have a folder that's your username. And then underneath that, there'll be folders like documents, pictures, videos, whatever. A great place to put that, and that's on your, by default, that's on your boot drive. I just put it under pictures and then let all the folders underneath pictures. And particularly since the new ones would be MMDDYY, I didn't have those before, and it just creates them all, and you're there. So. Okay, so there's a few things you want to look at when you're starting. This is kind of key slide, and I'm gonna break out some of these. But in the left circle there, that shows my username and pictures, and that's what I'm gonna choose in this example. Okay, and I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna call it workshop. So I'm gonna create a new catalog called workshop. Up at the top, you have choices of copy as DNG, copy, move, or add. Move says, take every photo you find on the left side and move it to whatever I say on the right side. Okay. Copy as DNG, the two copies are primarily for taking it off of, like your SD card, your camera. Okay. And add, sometimes I use add, for whatever reason, I'll just copy it and put it where I want it, and then I go into Lightroom and say, oh, here they are, add them. And that works too. But the easiest way to start this thing and to get your organization the way you want it is to say move. And it's going to create all this new stuff, this new structure for you. On the top right, there's a box that says don't import suggested duplicates. There's no reason to have a duplicate in twice in your catalog. It'll confuse you for sure. Confuses me. And there'll be, when we do the demo, you'll see some that look like duplicates, but they're not. There's some are like a TIFF versus a JPEG versus a RAW. Yeah.
Well, okay, so if you're gonna do, HDR, whatever, you're gonna bracket your exposure. When it imports it, it's gonna think that's duplicate, isn't it?
No,
Then you got three pictures together all the same.
they're not the same. If you're doing HDR, they have different exposures.
Oh, so
They're not the same. And your HDR composite that you create from it is the fourth one if you use three. So, yeah. Okay. And then the most important one is that section, the lower section I've circled, and it says date format. And this is really important. There's like a choice of 8 or 10 of them. And use this one. They all act differently. They look like they're the same. They are not. Use the one that says the 4-digit day, 4-digit year / 2-digit month / 2-digit day. That one will create everything. And the reason I circled at the bottom, it'll show you where it's going to put it. Okay. So now I just scroll down on the bottom and it's showing me how it's going to put them. It's going to create all those folders for me. And they're going to be where I said to put them on pictures, which is underneath my username, pictures, and then all those folders. So and then when you click import, it'll do it. That's the one click. Click. And now it'll do it. Creates all these folders and moves all your photos from wherever they were, wherever it found them, and it'll put them in those folders according to the date they were taken. Notice that some of them are grayed out. Those grayed out ones are dupes. Now, that means they're exact dupes, not just sort of. And I can go, and this is not my real catalog anymore. I kind of created it for this workshop. On my real catalog, I would find all those that are duplicates and I would delete them because I don't need the duplicate.
if you're gonna like a virtual copy or something, that would be considered.
No, virtual copy is only in the catalog. Virtual copy does not exist on your hard drive. Okay. Okay, now we'll go live.
Be careful.
Available on video if you want. Watch it.
Oh, we recording?
Yes, it's being recorded. Yep. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I practiced this at home. The thing I didn't practice was two screens. I could have. I have two screens. I didn't. I said, I'll just do one screen and I know when I'm broadcasting or not. And then it's,
You can see that on Zoom.
I think so.
We still have.
Are you guys there?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you see Lightroom on your screen?
yeah, no photos selected.
Okay, good. Yeah. So. This is a real problem. I didn't think about this. I can't see that. Okay, that's
Do you
not
need to
that.
have two screens or can you just duplicate the screen? That be.
Yeah, now I can go back to duplicating the screen. So, right. But I didn't, I had it on one screen and PowerPoint said, you will extend it. It didn't give me a choice. That's what messed me up. So what I'm gonna do, and I think we'll just pretty much end PowerPoint. And I'm gonna say close and close.
Live demos are tricky enough sometimes.
Okay. Now I'm all on one screen. Good. Now I can see what the heck I'm doing.
My bad. Yeah, you sure.
Okay, hi Betty, I saw you were there. So, are you guys seeing Lightroom again? Yes or no?
No,
No, I got to reshare. Okay, I got to go to Zoom. Share. Screen. Share. Okay. Now, hopefully you can now see Lightroom.
yes,
Good. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. This one? Got it.
Patrick, I have almost the same screen you do, but where you have catalog, I've got presets, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
To get there.
Right, we're gonna change that right now.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna go File. New catalog.
Ready to do that.
And then you're gonna say, you're gonna create it. Okay,
Do you want?
and soon as you create it, what's gonna happen? Okay, I said create, I've already made it started, I've got a blank one in there. But if I say, in my case, I'm gonna have to change to it, open reset, and this is the one I want. Okay, see, it says workshop, I'm now in the right one. Okay. And for folders. Okay, I'm gonna go import. And I'm gonna say import from my user under. Remember, the way that both Windows and Macs organize, it's got all the hardware and software stuff up top, and then it has your username, and then everything else underneath it, documents, pictures, whatever. And I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna take the top one. So I don't care if there's photos in my documents. I don't care where I put them. Okay, I'll just say, put them there. And over here. Right. And over here, I'm gonna say, don't import duplicates. And to speed things up, if I were doing this, I don't know, because there's like 15,000 pictures up there, it takes a couple minutes or so to find them all. And maybe with Zoom attached, it'll take longer than that, who knows? Probably. Okay, so anyhow, that's that. Make sure you do that. And then destination by date. And here's where you have the choices. And this is the one you want. Nothing else looks like it. It's the 4-year / 2 month / 2 day.
Like the rest of the world,
Yeah, like the rest of the world. Exactly.
just not the US. And the reason why you want to go that, we're shorting from the biggest to the small.
Right, exactly.
In a year, then not.
Well, actually, most of the world does it kind of inside out. They do day, month, year.
So I know one question you thought about.
At least we
The
don't go
one
on.
at the very bottom puts all of the pictures from a day in a single directory, and then it just has directory, not hierarchical by months and years.
Yeah,
Any reason?
well, and again, on both, in this particular product, and I think it's actually true across the whole OS. If you're in your folder structure and all you have to do to collapse it is hold the Alt key and click on it and it'll collapse. So hold on the Alt key and click on it, and it'll expand. And it's the Command key, no, it's the Option key on a Mac. So that'll expand it. I'll show you a reason that I like the day in a second, but you don't have to do it, obviously. But this way will work, and you can collapse them later, and you just drag them and put them in, you can move them around. Just do it within Lightroom. If you do it within Lightroom, your photos won't ever be missed. If you do it with the OS, with Finder on the Mac or Windows Explorer on the PC, they'll all come up missing later. So anyhow, that's that section.
That's a good comment that Pat just made. Whenever you're doing anything, once you get things in your catalog, never go into Windows Explorer or Finder and start moving things around. Let Lightroom do it.
Right, and it moves them the same way. You just drag them, move them
But
around.
then Lightroom catalog will know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Outside the catalog, and then it gets confused.
Yep.
I'm right with you.
So, okay, so we chose that. And I didn't anticipate, there it goes. Wow. Talk about the effect of Zoom. But see, there's lots that are quote duplicates. And then you could even, some of the stuff it would pick up that qualified are these things. You could go in and uncheck them and hold your shift key and uncheck a bunch of them at the same time, or wait till it doesn't and just delete them. It's up to you. I'd rather pick them all up first and then get rid of them later because they're pretty easy to get rid of. And just right click and say, get rid of it, delete it, remove it. So, okay. Okay, so here, and you'll see what it's going to do. It's going to go ahead. This is the way it's going to build it. Now, Jeff, which one did you say? I'll show you how it does it differently. So you wanted to use which one? very bottom. Okay. So you just do, you,
It's day, month. Or it's year.
oh, so you have a folder, not, it's not hierarchical. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
It makes a big one.
that makes a big long list. My actual catalog is got one more level in there. It's called decade. Cause I don't wanna have a list that's how many folders long, so. But you could do that. And I mean, if you wanna see what it looked like, I'll just click on this and it'll do its thing for a minute. There, that's what it'll look like. It hasn't finished doing it yet, but that's what it would look like. And I think that list would drive me crazy.
They go year and month. You're gonna explain the advantages.
Yes, yeah, there is an advantage, so I'm gonna change this back.
By year and month. Works for me.
Yeah, it does work.
Again, you shouldn't be building anything in any smart system where you're storing it.
Right. Okay, so now I'm back to that. Okay. So now I'm gonna click import and hopefully this won't take all day. Okay, don't ask again.
So what you're doing here, maybe I understood, you're just basically saying, okay, I'm new to Lightroom, I got a whole bunch of pictures in my picture directory, wherever I'm PC, and I'm just importing it for the first time into the.
I'm import or it'll I mean, if I took my catalog today, it would redo it. And the only reason I wouldn't want to do it is because I would lose those two things. And anything I've edited as a JPEG, I'd lose my edits. And anytime I use virtual copies, I would lose that. In my particular case, I wouldn't lose very much because I don't edit a lot of JPEGs. But in the case of virtual copies, I have virtual copies in virtually in every folder, because I know I'm not the only one that does this. A lot of times when I recrop a photo, I leave the real photo as taken alone and I create a virtual copy for the crop.
Okay, you said you're only losing your edits from the JPEG, but if I've got raw files in my.
It moves the XMPs, which has got all the stuff in it.
Oh, okay, now, if you don't have XMP, a lot of us don't do it that way.
Well, how do you not get
It's stored in the catalog. You can either use sidecars, which are XMPs,
right?
or you can have it, like in my case, with a DNG, so it's stored within the DNG file. But they also are stored within the catalog. So if I
Right.
update my DNG, they're only. In
Yeah, DNGs are fine because it's stored in the DNG.
Only if I save stored.
Okay,
Sometimes you can just store it within the catalog. So all I'm saying, people be careful in creating a new catalog unless you know where everything is physically stored. Because you could lose all your edits if they are in your current Lightroom catalog.
if they're only in your current.
Like they're only in your, which is the way mine is.
So this guy who you watched, I watched the videos in DMH as well. He recommended not using XMP side files. I don't remember his reasoning, but
Speed.
speed.
It is, actually, it depends on where you are. If you're in the library mode, sidecars are faster. And if you're in develop mode, they're slower. So it's kind of like, and I want the speed when I'm calling.
But just remember, I mean, your XMPs are stored with your photos. In your slide earlier, you basically said, you don't care where your photos are, they could be on the sole drive. So if they're on the physically sole drive, your processing is going to be slower.
Oh, right.
Using XMPs, so. Because that's what your previews are and everything.
It still creates previews.
Is that true?
It does itty bitty ones.
Itty bitty ones, okay, if you want a standard size preview.
Right. Yeah. So anyhow, that's,
You see, there's many, many ways of doing this.
yes, there are. And, you know, if you, and I would encourage you and to use the embedded in sidecars. I've been using that for years, and the reason was it's a faster mode to call. And that's why. It's just that simple. But there's like both of our other experts that are in here said there's lots of ways to do this. And part of the problem people have is it's like, I don't have a formula. I don't know which to do. So I'm giving you a set of, if you do it this way, it'll work. And you should be fine, particularly if you're new, because then you don't have all these quote edits laying around, right? So that's where the issues come in, by the way. So, okay. So now that I've got that, I'm gonna take this drive, the C drive, and I thought it was interesting how I got a date of 1904.
You are old, aren't you?
Yeah. And these are absolutely not 1904. Come on. What is this? Huh. It was some test I was doing. Say, Cluff's one test. Okay.
It's never all.
Yeah, apparently they just throw a date in it, right?
Some people, they after the video before.
Right. So when I said earlier that there's a reason, and it's look at all the zeros, it hasn't finished doing them yet. I'll take one that it has finished doing.
Well, you're only at 100%. So
Yeah. And it may not have, I got one photo here.
when you look at your status bar on the top, it's very.
Oh, Craig will probably recognize this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the reason I like this structure. Because there's two ways I can identify this thing. One is I can come over here to the keywords and I can add a keyword. But if I want to keyword all of them at once, okay. Zoom has got me, I double clicked and it should allow me to quote, rename this. Let's see if I do it this way, right click, rename. Just say.
Hindu.
And so now, when I search, it's going to be able to find it. I could have done it over here, and I could have done it over here. The advantage to me of doing it over here is I still got all my keywords I can still use, which is fine. But most of the time, the why that I'm shooting for is by date. And I put it there and I've got them all. So I now know what I did on that date and why I did it. So like if it was hits or the desert park or whatever, okay? That's why I do it that way. And
5 years from now, you'll say, I want this picture of this Indian or whatever it is. I have no idea what year or date it was.
you don't need it. You come up here and you say all photographs. And then you say text. And I type the keyword
Any searching.
and boom.
If you keyword,
No, I just named the folder. I did not keyword that.
what was the folder you made, what did you type in?
I typed in portrait.
Well, you notice what he's searching for in the very first drop-down column is any searchable field. He's not searching for just. keywords,
Right. Any searchable field.
Which could be keywords, could be file names, could be folder names, it's searching anything.
Right.
That's the keyword, that's how.
Which generally when you're trying to find some, just go find it. I'll worry about narrowing it later. So, which you can do. I mean, so, and then I could say, oh, well, I want an attribute of 3 stars. Well, guess what? It's gonna go away because I don't have any stars on it. So, yeah, you can add as many of these things as you want. And that's how you go find your photos. And turn this one off. And then since I started typing it, soon as I type it, it finds anything, it'll make it show up. I don't have to wait to type out the whole word even. Okay,
So I just noticed to go to that part, what if you got 20 portraits, have it all planned up?
I wouldn't have named, I would have never named this folder portrait. That's not, I would have said, I don't know where I was doing it. At such and such a high school play,
What is the folder name?
right here.
Yeah,
I just added,
Beautiful.
all I did was add a word after the date. And that word is now searchable. And it applies to everything in the folder.
The advantage what he's showing you there, he did say portrait, which is probably a poor choice of keyword.
Yes, it would be.
But the advantage of doing it on the date, I see, it. Let me, David, you may not be true. But if you have 100 photos taken on that day on the 3rd, and you say it's such and such high school
Right,
play or whatever, then all of the pictures now have been labeled that, all 100 pictures, let's assume you have 100.
right,
Where if you went down to the following keyword, you would have to apply that keyword to all 100 photos.
right. And which isn't that hard. You just select them all and say add the keyword. But it's even easier to do this. And in years past, I wasn't paying attention. And when you have lots of keywords over there, some of them, and you bring in a folder that's in the collections, which I wasn't going to talk much about today, you get some asterisks on it. And I've added keyword asterisks to photos that didn't belong there just because I said, oh, use these. And I didn't like that. So I really like this structure.
So this structure will work if you only have a keyword, but if you had 10 keywords you want to have.
Yeah, now this, I would say on this, you use, there's the who, and we'll go into that in a second. The why, that I think you put the why here. Okay, why did I shoot this? Was it the high school play Shrek? That's what I would put in. Right?
International Horse Show.
International Horse Show, yep, which is exactly what I did put it in my reel cap. Then I would use the keywords, but even the keywords, you don't have to do some of them. I'm gonna just because everything's gonna be so slow right here, I'm gonna choose this. Normally, when you're doing a lot of this, you choose all photographs, but I'm gonna only choose this folder, and there's a space down here. Okay. Oh, why did you start finding faces in the entire catalog? Plan on it taking all night.
Or the week.
Or the week. I never use that. Find only faces as needed. When I tell you to look for them, go find them. That's particularly important for I used to shoot portrait sessions where I'd have 100 kids come in. And I don't know one of their names. I wouldn't identify any of them. The last thing I want is to have to find their name, find them by photo, right? I don't want it. So I always choose this only find faces as needed, which means when I tell you to, do it. Okay, and it goes up here and it's going to say it's now paused. So now what I'm going to do, since I'm on this one folder, I'm going to take this guy and, oh, hold on, I did that wrong. It's supposed to show, it does show up here. There it goes. I'm gonna unpause it. Okay. It's not gonna, because I didn't say do it in the whole catalog, it's not gonna do it. I've unpaused it. Now in that folder, if I do this, it's gonna find his face And no people found. Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. I would have thought it would have found the person.
Before you were to do anything, I think the important point you want to bring up is that, how do you want to find your photo? What's important to you? And, really think about the structure. This is a good suggestion.
Yeah.
But think about that before you start making changes to it. Even.
Right, well, I mean, the other part is just where the photos are located. They're now located in a more sensible way, because I mean, when I've looked at some of them, they're all over the place. You can't find anything. And this, now I know where all your photos are. Do I know any more than that? No. And then you have to do other things, all right?
Our keywording is
Keywording's very
you
important.
need to think about that before you start trouble.
Yeah, there's different, there's three things you can do that really have, you have the keyword, you have the folder naming, you have the keywording, you have the face finding, and the location. Okay, and that's automatic if you've got your GPS on. And so when we go down here to metadata and you say location, I doubt this one, interesting. Found it. I don't know. I didn't expect it to find it, but it did. So there's some GPS, probably a phone. Craig, was that taken on your phone?
Oh, no, that's with film back in the year 2000 in Nepal. So no phone at that time.
Okay.
Film,
So
but
somehow it got a GPS on it and then it finds it and looks up the address. Unfortunately, this
that's
thing.
before they had all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. Got that. So I actually let this do it and undid it for this. I didn't anticipate that it would be this slow with Zoom. It took about 2 minutes when I did it.
A few days.
So it's really creeping along. But it can, for instance, on my real catalog, I said, oh yeah. And I turn on GPS a fair amount. My camera, I have to turn it on. Because if I leave it on, it'll eat up the battery overnight. When it says it's on, it's on. Even when the camera's turned off, it's on.
Must be a Canon.
Yeah, it is a Canon. Yep. And I complained about that once and they told me why they do it. So I'm not going to defend their decision. I know why it's done that way. Anyhow, that allows you, if you have GPS on, it'll look up the address, and I knew it was the horse park because it just said, oh, I had GPS on when you were at the horse park, and so it filled it in. I didn't have to type that. The Y with the jumpers or whatever. So, okay, unfortunately, any more of the demo on this thing, pretty useless at this speed. So.
Yeah, think about your keywords. One of the ways I set up my keywords, and there's many ways to do it. So if I use a hierarchy, who, what, when, where, what. So the what I'll put in landscape, and then underneath landscape, I'll say, river or mountain. So I only got a key in the lowest level, not in that.
Right, rolls it out.
So
And-
think about using a hierarchy of type.
And Jeff said he watched the Clifford Pickett stuff, and that's exactly what he suggests doing. He's now saying, I don't think it's necessary on 2 of them. Location and person,
Yeah,
but for the other stuff, yes, and he uses the hierarchy keywords, so.
Yeah, I turned off my person years ago, and I probably should reactivate it, but he's just too slow on the computer.
So I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I'm gonna close this. Quit Lightroom. Some things were not performed yet. You're right. That's okay. I'll worry about that later. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm on one screen now, and this is going to take me off of the one screen. Next time, Jim, I just found the big advantage of not using PowerPoint. And saving my final PowerPoint as a PDF, because then it would have all been on one screen, but I didn't bother doing it. So. Okay. And as long as I just do it this way, I can see everything too.
You still sharing?
No, thank you. Okay, you guys out in Zoom land should be seeing from Chaos to Organize, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so, and I totally agree with, both Jeff and Glenn has said about keywords and tagging photos. But it is getting to the point where automation and AI can do a lot of work for you. One thing is if you're in Lightroom Classic, you get some space in Adobe Regular, Lightroom Regular, or mobile or cloud, whichever you want to call it, not desktop. Anyhow, you can just say share it with that, and it shares the smart object, which is relatively small. And you can store a ton of photos over there. I've in my real catalog, which has got over 100,000 photos, I've got about 10,000 of them sitting in the cloud, Adobe Cloud, and that takes about 9. They give you 20 gigabytes, and it takes about 9 gigabytes. So that's a lot. You can fit a ton in that 20 gig. And if you go over the 20 gig, they'll just say, oh, fine, you have to buy more, like everybody else. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You never need to run out. Or you can do Google Photos. And both of the products have AI built into them. And if you say, just quit, cancel. Don't ask, cancel. Okay. The advantage is, if I were to go into Dropbox right now and Google Photos actually uses a very similar piece of software behind the scenes. And if I typed in Lightroom or birds, so this little piece right here was, I did go into Dropbox and type birds, and that's all the photos that I found. So everything I put in there, or in Adobe Lightroom or photos, and it'll do logical keywording for you. Okay. If you want to do it with some local storage software, there's products you can buy. There's one called Xire, and it's a plugin to Lightroom Classic. It's roughly $100, and they have a one-time purchase. And so if it works for you, fine, and it doesn't update anymore, and they'll probably get smarter. So I don't know. They figure they'll get you to buy it again. So you can use that. There's Quick Find and Peak 2. Peak 2 only works on the Mac, and Peak 2 is what's underlying what they call Mac Photo, Apple Photo. So anyhow, those pieces of software will in fact help you find your photos. And once you know what your photo is, you say, oh, show me the detailed info. You have the date now, and you know exactly where to go, even if you don't know anything else. All the photos were stored with a date in them. And so when you say, show me the info, I know the date. Now, since everything's organized by date, I can go to that date, and there will be that photo. So it's that's another kind of advantage of doing it. The way Jeff does it, you'll find it that way too. It still works. I did that long list. I just, on my, not for me, but that. Everybody has their own preferences and reasons why. Grading photos. This is one, there's probably 100 ways to do it. A lot of, as it turned out, Glenn and I do this very similarly. Minor definitional product, but essentially 0. It starts off with 0. You don't have any stars. And it means you haven't done anything with it. You probably just imported it and haven't done another thing to it. And if you want to do further on it, I give it a 1. So when I'm editing, when I'm culling photos, I have my finger on the 1 and the right key. So move to the right, and I go, move to the right. Do I want it? If I do, press 1. If I don't, hit right again, hit right again, hit right again. 1, right again, right again, right again, 1. And if you do that, and you'll have a bunch of photos that you say, oh, these are some to work with. There's a couple ways you can do that. And some people, and I don't bother doing it because if at the end I still have zeros left, I'll say delete all the zeros. But another thing you can do is keep the other finger on the X key, and that marks it for deletion. And then you can say, oh, show me all the deletes and delete them. So that works too. So, and then I use 2, meaning I know I need to edit this thing. There's something I recrop it, something I don't like in it. And then once you get above that, the actual definition for different people probably changes a bit. But I think 3 or above shareable, 4 that's one of my better photos, and a 5 is one of my portfolio photos. So that's out of my 100,000 photos, I think I got about 200. I could give it a 5. So I use 5 rarely. So anyhow, that's one way to do it. It works. And one of the things to always consider when you're doing any of this is, does it get written in the files? Okay. And the answer is yes, it does. I mean, the operating systems recognize the stars. So both Apple and Windows recognize the stars, and it'll put it in, as long as the file's written to, then it'll put it in there.
And you can rate it with 5 or with 6, 7, or 8 too.
Well, those aren't stars. Yes, you can. Those are colors. Those are colors. Yeah. And you're right. You can do that too. And I have been known to use red to mean it needs to be focused. I got to do something. If something's driving me bad, it's look to the one to the left or right, see if it's better focus. Anyhow.
Color tag stored in the metadata.
Glenn, I'm not positive. I know the stars are.
Stars are, I don't think color.
I think the color is, but I don't think it's viewable, because I think if you go into your Windows Explorer or whatever, it will show you the stars. I don't think it recognizes anything about the file.
It's
But I believe it stores it, but it just doesn't recognize.
it doesn't interpret it for you.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to.
Right. It probably is written in there.
I sort of use the colors for my column, right?
Yeah,
So if it's worth working on like his Patrick's number 1.
yeah.
I tag it as yellow,
Okay.
right? And then when it gets to the finished product, it's a green. And then I apply the stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
We all have different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Don't way the wrong way.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you there's one way that's necessarily better than another. What I'm trying to do with this is give people a formula that works, and you can make your own modifications to it, and you probably won't get in a lot of trouble. You're starting with a solid base.
The big thing is knowing where you're showing your photos, and I think that's what Patrick went through here earlier. A lot of people don't even know where the files are going, and the photos are. So you need to know where your photos are to do your backup, which we'll talk about.
Right. That's
important. The stars, whether you use stars or the pick flag or, your colors, that's something you have to work out.
Right.
And your, keywords are something you need to work out as well, on how you want to set up your hierarchy. Well, you need to think about how you're going at the photos, right? What's important to you, to be able to find photos.
Yep,
And I do suggest going on, there's a bunch of, keywords you can download and look at on the internet. Look at what other people are doing. And see, is that gonna work for me or not? I think, think it through. It's a lot of work getting the keyword everything. You don't wanna do it multiple times.
You can customize your rated metadata to show ratings in color.
okay. All right, if you can, I
So
believe you.
ratings and label, and it's got, like I've got a 4-star and a purple on one photograph. And that's what's.
And you're looking, and that's a Windows machine,
Yeah,
and you're looking in Explorer, Windows Explorer.
no, I'm in Lightroom Classic.
Oh, Lightroom Classic does it.
Question wise, there's nothing outside of Lightroom that can actually read.
So for instance, if Craig decides, I decided I don't want to use Lightroom Classic, I did all this work. Can I use it in On One? And the answer is, if it's stored, yes. If it's not, you can't. So,
As an example, you can go into Windows Explorer, and I don't know how Mac works, I'm not a Mac guy, go into Windows Explorer. And you have a column, you can just show me my start rate.
yeah,
That I gave it via Lightroom. I know 1 through 5, but definitely 6. That is not going to show you.
Yeah.
That was the question of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, I'm not gonna beat this to death, but you have to back up. Drives failed, period.
I had 2 fail last year.
I used to manage a data center, and in the data center, I had 5 people that dealt with recovering files from failed disks. I mean, yeah, when you have thousands and thousands of potential failure areas, it's amazing how often you get
It's not a
nailed.
question of if, it's a question of
When. Yep, it's only a matter of time. One of the things I happen to like about organizing and the way Jeff does it would work just as well. Again, that's a data organization. Is it means even if you don't have a sophisticated or even simple backup program, if it's all your photos organized by date, you can just copy them. And you know where you're to. You just look on your backup drive and say, oh, guess what? I'm backed up to this point. And then you can just add more. Yeah.
Has the failure rate been reduced dramatically with the solid state drive?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But still a fit.
Well, still back up, but I'm just.
And probably nobody in this room is gonna have an issue with it. You can only write to an SSD so many times. It is not infinite.
Where is that?
Finite number.
It's a very high number, and if you own a data center, you're concerned about it. But for a normal person, you're not concerned about it, just for whatever. Okay, and back up your catalog often. You've taken the time to get it where you want it and back it up. Just remember, it does not contain any of the photos.
Can I just go back to one more thing in the backup? People should do. Go into one of your files, your pictures. Rename it or move it off onto some other drive. Now restore it. Go through the process of restoring the file. Don't think you know how to do it unless you do it. Because some people I know will say, oh no, I back it up all the time. Then all of a sudden they lose. Now how do I do it? They have no clue how to restore it.
Yeah.
So whatever your backup process is, whether you do it, and I should always recommend doing an off-site or a file backup, at least one copy on the file. A lot of people, when we know, I think I sent it up to Pat, I don't know if Pat sent it around. A lot of people in the LA area lost everything recently with some fires. There was a professional photographer that was in back, didn't do a file backup, and they lost everything. I think I sent that one to you. Pat.
Maybe I didn't see
The
it.
point I'm trying to make is make sure you got a copy. Offsite as well.
Yeah, and I like to also have what I call a boot backup.
Yeah.
So that I can, at that point, anything on the drive, including the operating system, is there. And you can run an axe through my machine and I'll take the backup and put a new machine down and restore it. So,
And I've had to do that many times, not many.
I've had to do it, not many.
Yeah, not many.
And it is painful when you do it, because if you have terabytes of data, it takes forever. I mean, and it's like, you want to touch your machine and you go, no, I shouldn't. I I did the calcs. It's gonna take a day and a half to do this. But that's if it's local. If you try to do it, for instance, some of the cloud services now have the ability where you say you lost your drive, you can, I don't know, you call them or you text them or you email them, and you say, please send me a drive. And they will take their backup, put it on drive and send it to you so you can do the restore locally.
Crackbase does that.
Yeah.
That's what you use.
Use crash phone,
Oh, gosh, no.
backplays.
I was gonna say, for initial backup too, if you need to do your initial backup, they will send you a disk drive initially, so you can put everything to a disk drive, send it back. That gives you your starting point.
Right.
Years ago, I tried to get everything up on the online, and this is in Canada, really slow internet speed you have, just for down in the city.
Let me ask one quick question. For the people that are online, can you hear Glenn, or should we have given him a mic over there? Since there's sitting one right there.
I'm not.
So, okay, I just thought of that. All right. Okay, needless to say, if you do spend a lot of time doing this, you don't want to lose all the time you spent doing it. So you need a backup, because something will fail. It will. It just does. Sometimes it's little things like you lose power in the area and it comes back up, there's a surge, and that's it.
Well, a stupid thing that I did a few years ago when I was had my backup that I took from down here and brought home. And I had a laptop and my external drive, and this was an external drive that needed a power source. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna quickly restore to my home computer in Canada. So I plugged my power adapter for the PC into my disk drive. It's 5 times the power, it just fried my disk drive. Oh, oops, oops. You better have other backups. It's like,
Okay, so any other questions from today? I mean, there could be a zillion. We didn't go in, I mean, nothing about editing. It's all about how you organize your stuff and how you find the files. And I apologize. I thought about doing it ahead of time, of not actually doing it, not creating it live. And I thought, oh, because I watched it, it only took like a minute and a half to do it. And I said, oh, okay, a minute, yeah, big deal. And it's like gone nowhere. So, yeah, bad decision. I won't make that mistake again. Any other questions?
Patrick, could I ask one question?
Sure.
Okay, on my Sony camera, the small one I have, I've used the old Sony software and it puts the pictures by date. So I'm wondering if I'm using not Classic but regular Lightroom, is there any comparison with this or not really?
Well, Lightroom doesn't use a catalog. So
Right.
this is all about a catalog. And so, for instance, if you're using Lightroom, not Lightroom Classic,
Right.
You can't keyword files because there's no place to keyword.
Okay,
And
thank you. Yeah.
And one of the things that in my opinion, the biggest thing I dislike about that is when you edit stuff without a catalog, you actually change the photo on your hard drive. So you no longer have the original. You have an edited photo. And sometimes people decide they like the original better. I've been there many times because Lightroom didn't do what I really wanted it to do 3 years ago. And now it's click, 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 and I can do it. Give me back the original, I'll redo it. So I just maybe I had a dark room for too many years. I like negatives, you know, I like that. It's unchangeable piece.
I didn't quite get that.
Okay.
Lightroom's changing, what's Lightroom changing?
Oh, its capabilities, like the masking you can now do, and things that I wanted to do before I couldn't do, now I can do
But
it.
you still got the original file.
Oh, I still got the original, right? If I had already done it the old way, I don't have the original.
So I don't use
Okay.
Classic, right?
Lightroom doesn't keep a history for you
Where's it gonna keep it?
in the file. It won't, it doesn't.
I don't,
Goes-
I know, for instance, even in Lightroom Classic, or Photoshop, your history gets lost after a while. I don't know exactly the reasons. I just know it does get lost. So there's some way it's captured sometimes, in some ways it gets lost and,
Well, Photoshop only keeps the last 30, I think, history items. Whereas
okay,
Lightroom keeps it forever.
right,
Unless you purge it, which
unless you do.
some people purge from the catalog once in a while, just to keep the catalog smaller.
Okay, anything else from the online people?
No, you did good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good and very interesting.
I'm gonna turn off that, I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna cancel this, or I'm gonna end the session, and that'll end the recording. Thank you, guys, hope you enjoyed it.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Patrick.
Thank you.